Welcome to the Jira Life, the place to find news, events, and interviews with the Atlassian community's movers and shakers. Join our hosts, Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, and Rodney, the Jira guy Nissen, as well as the Jira amigos in the Peanut Gallery, as we sit down and discuss the latest going on in the Atlassian ecosystem. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life, the Jira Life chose us.
Welcome, everyone, to our very special final guest episode. Our buddy and companion, Rodney, still recovering, although he is very active on Slack, so he is making a very speedy recovery. And I can assure you that the surgery did not affect his humor and everything else about Rodney. He's still the very same Rodney. And before we get too far, special thanks to our sponsor of this episode, Revise, who we're going to actually be talking about a topic that we've talked about before. So we're going to do a little restoration here. But I think we're going to have a much better twist with it because now we've had this new UI for a few weeks. I think a few more people have had more time to marinate in it. And hopefully the blows just keep coming. But again, special thank you to Revise for making this episode possible. So I have three lovely people here that I'm usually not, well, two of them I'm not used to being in front of. And Matt, you're quite the celebrity in my world.
I'm included among the three lovely people. I thought you were referring to the two others and Bob. So thank gosh. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah, no, I love tuning into your community-led trainings because you definitely set a bar very high.
You know, I was born a comedian and entertainer, and then I got a degree in computer science, and the rest is history.
That's a great way to, that's your elevator speech right there.
I'm trying to process that, quite frankly. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm working on my Oscars acceptance speech later on. You know, it's working toward it.
One day, maybe I can help. And then we also have my new enemy / best friend, Mr. Darryl.
Enemy.
Yeah, words were said over the Disney topics.
Oh,
I guess we're on a I guess maybe not an enemy, but competitor. We're trying to see who knows more Disney trivia. Oh. So I see you as my enemy.
Oh, yes. In our preparations for Team 25 and Disneyland visits, we have a lot of opinions and advice. This is true.
Yeah, a lot. And for the record, I wish this was a feature that we could revert to the old UI because that would be such a blessing.
I heard you say, Revise, it's a very appropriate sponsor for this topic. I'm like, what? You can...
Well, because we had an episode where Rodney and I took a stab at the new UI.
Yeah.
And so we'll just get to revisit it. So we're restoring our episode topic.
I got it now.
Because, Revise does backup and restore for Jira. Got to plug him in every way I can.
Go.
I keep telling people, I've been seeing a lot more comments on my YouTube video, especially old ones. People are like, too many commercials. I'm like, guys, I got kids to feed. Somehow this has to work. So
that's what fast forwards for now.
I just tell them hey, then they feel like jerks for telling me, Rents to tell them I'm I'm doing this to feed my kids.
Well, and especially now as this is your first week, right? Or your first few days even?
First 3.5 days of, I guess not, I wouldn't call it unemployment because I'm fully employed, but first 3 weeks where I don't have to worry about waking up at 5 a.m. to deal with somebody else's problems.
Of independence, I think is the word you're looking for. Freedom. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, I took a leap. I've been trying to take a leap for 3 years, and I finally did it.
All right.
Oh my God, exciting!
Now my work office is going to become Main Street USA.
Oh,
I've seen that. TikTok.
Yeah. So let's talk about. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit first, Darryl and Matt, and we all know Sarah, and then we'll go from there, and then jump into today's topic.
All right. I'm dying to know more about Darryl. You're first.
Yeah, tell us why you have this amazing background. All professional here.
So I'm just a Confluence Jira admin, longtime Atlassian admin, going back to server days. And so certainly the last couple of years have been very interesting as both in my own career, and then more recently at Roku, we've transitioned to cloud. And so lots of new stuff, and also a fair amount of stuff that is the same. But yeah, it's been really an interesting journey with this move to SaaS managed and not having to deal with backups and infrastructure and stuff that we have to deal with. Instead, I have to pay or nag somebody else to fix things. But yeah, a big part of that, though, is that I don't have control over when an upgrade, like a new UI, comes out. So a lot of it is going to come down to customer user management, managing expectations, and me finally taking a look at this thing and saying, oh man.
I think you're not giving it enough justice, because my Slack yesterday was like, oh, in all caps, and then a big WTF. It was, what the
Yeah.
all caps with exclamation marks.
I'm trying to save it for later. I'm trying to leave.
You want to say,
Yeah.
no, we got to come out swinging here.
Well, luckily, Darryl, if you just upgrade to Confluence Enterprise, you have the ability to defer changes for an additional 60 days.
Wait, are you working for Atlassian now?
No, but I do keep up with the news, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just for Enterprise, huh? I'm pretty sure every admin would really like to do that, but
Dude,
why not embrace it?
Let's not even get started on that, because earlier you were talking, Darryl, during the pre-show about discovered products, right? And you can control your discovered products if you're an enterprise customer. I'm like, this affects everybody. Why is it only for the rich people?
Right. And that's an interesting thing. Yes, I just copied and pasted the rollout schedule that Sarah was talking about before, that she heard from a webinar. And it's like, yes, enterprise is last, but defer is not the same as
avoid.
Decline.
Mm-hmm. You're living in SaaS now, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, people picked for you now.
Mm-hmm. Take your medicine, Darryl.
It's either now or December.
All right, Mr. K15T.
Hi there.
magic.
I am Matt with K15T. It is lovely to be here. I started at a small software company. Oh, wow. A long time ago now, and they were like, hey, you're going to be the admin for this thing we have called Jira. I was like, I don't know what a Jira is, but okay, sure. And that was the early days of cloud, when it was still called, these products were called on-demand products. In other words, they were really crashy versions of server they had stuck on an EC2 instance. It was amazing how often Jira was down. And then slowly I brought Confluence into the company as well. And luckily my admin days are over. I mean, especially, I don't know how y'all learned how to administer Jira, but typically it involves breaking a lot of things before you're like, oh, wow, everything is connected. Yeah, so lots of that. And now I work at K15T. We're an app vendor for Confluence and Jira. We make the scroll apps, which are used by most users of apps on Confluence, as well as Jira Backbone, Issue Sync. But I myself am a content creator, so I do a lot of work on educating the world on how to use Confluence in the very best way possible. And I really love it. We discovered that our users, while they loved our apps, were asking like really basic questions about Confluence. And we were like, well, there's probably a YouTube video about that somewhere, right? And Nope. So we decided to make them ourselves, and it's been a great journey. And I'm super excited to be here to talk a little bit more about the very best of Confluence
And Jira.
and Jira. I legally can't speak about the best in Jira. It's been too long. They don't let me do
They
that.
don't let you? Don't worry. Welcome to the Jira Life, where this whole episode is a disclaimer. A legal disclaimer.
This legally disclaimer brought to you by our sponsor. I'm just kidding.
No, I can't tell you how many times Bob and Rodney just cringe over the dumb things that I say on this thing, and then they have to like make a legal disclaimer that my opinions are my own and not representative of everybody and all those involved in the Jira Life.
Love that.
We have had the Trello Life, by the way, and I think it would be an interesting thing to have a Confluence Life one day where we just have people from Confluence take over.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like chaos. Be careful, we're all
Probably
crazy
not a good
collaborators.
idea. I'm not.
Yeah.
We can get you and Rob on here. That would be fun and interesting.
That's true. Oh my gosh, that would be wild.
He's been doing his ACP 420 study sessions, and my friend was like, "Isn't he the Confluence guy?" I'm like, "I don't think there's a Confluence like ACP yet, right? Like there's like an ACA or something, but not the ACP." And
Yeah, I think they said
there was a badge.
There was.
There is, I want to say, potentially an ACA on it now.
I think there's an ACA or something like that, but not an ACP currently. So my friend was just like, "Isn't he the Confluence guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what he's doing over here."
It needs an ACP though. I mean, it is. There's a lot
with mission control now. I think there's some benefit and stuff, but I will tell you, I have 800, almost 900 videos on YouTube, and my Confluence ones are the worst that perform the worst. Like I don't have anybody Googling how to use Confluence.
Well, that's because no one knows what it can do.
That's so true. I love whiteboards, by the way.
Well, now that they open on side by side, they're gonna go, "What is this thing?"
Yeah, there's this other thing in my Confluence or my Jira. What is this? That's weird.
I dropped a cool new video where like you can make a table on Confluence and highlight the table, and it'll auto create all the tickets. I'm like, this is awesome.
Oh, and whiteboards. Don't get me
started. I got like 50 views because like nobody cares about Confluence. I'm like, what the heck? Like if I would have done in reverse.
Well, Alex, I think it's time for a legal disclaimer. Some of us care very deeply
I know.
for Confluence. Oof,
I know.
Hurt.
Tell that to my viewers.
Well, I mean, what's your name? Dr. Jira here, and I realize your other name is maybe not the same, but still, when you're known as Dr. Jira, it's going to be hard to get your Confluence views up there.
I do really like Confluence, so I live and breathe whiteboards like all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many whiteboards I have open.
Mm-hmm. Emily and the team have done such a good job with that, and Christina beforehand. It's such a creative product, and to have it brought right into Confluence is so. I mean, Confluence has absolutely had a glow up in the last 2 years, and I think a lot of people still think it's what it used to be, which is probably why it doesn't get it the love that it deserves. But it is going to get a fantastic redesign.
Yeah,
maybe.
If I'm not mistaken, databases was yours first, right?
Databases was.
Are we legally allowed to talk about that one?
We are legally allowed to talk about that. Databases was 10 years in the making here at K15T. We've always been really passionate with. I mean, our Confluence apps are all about advanced content management use cases. So those teams doing like really wild stuff with maintaining all of their product documentation, maintaining versions and languages and variants of that content. So really sophisticated stuff. And we were like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there could be these like tables where you could reuse the content all across Confluence? And so like we've been wanting to do that for like 10 years, and we finally like started doing it. And then like the wild thing was like you would see other options like pivot table or not pivot table, Airtable came out. And then like Notion has these databases, and it was
Don't forget about Microsoft Access.
We can forget about Microsoft Access. Different, just a totally different. Oh God, Access. So it was amazing. Like it just seemed like there was this renaissance of this idea all at the same time. And so Databases was acquired and added to Confluence
last year.
Last year,
a year and a half, like a year and a half ago. Because I remember going to Team 24, and I go up to the database team, and I go, how do you do anything on your marketing page on databases in databases? Because I'm clicking every button humanly available, and I can't get this thing to work.
The Confluence team has grown into the ownership of databases. They know what they're doing now.
I hear it's getting better. I'm still too scared to try it.
Oh my God.
I'm not running a whole project, but I'm doing it with a lot of documentation of outcomes, even just on decisions that we're making and helping us make decisions. I'm a fan of databases. I'm bought in.
I might come back a year later. It might be safe enough to dip my toes back in the water, but a year and a half ago, some very cold, frigid waters.
Alex, you would not believe the things that we run off databases at K15T. It is
Well, I would
like
hope everything.
wild. And I was chatting with at Team. I was chatting at Team in Barcelona. I was chatting with what is her name? She's one of the leads on the sales side of Atlassian, and she's just an absolute database fan and was sharing all these things they're doing with databases. And I was like, come on, like this is amazing. Of course I can't remember her name. So yeah, there are like, there are fans all over the place, but it's very intimidating to start with. The team's done a really good job, like helping with that onboarding experience, but there's a lot to do. It's a powerful thing. They've had to bring it on, onto their own system. It's a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's a powerful thing, and I think as more people get to use it, they'll see the power of it.
And then more people will complain about what it doesn't have yet.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Then they'll
But
think
the
about
good news
Microsoft
is-
Access.
The good news is that they're trying it, right? And they want to see it develop, and they want to see it do more so that they can use it more. So
Darryl, I don't know if you know this, but like you're on the stream, like you can talk. You
I know,
have to
that's what I was thinking too.
You're asking
do
questions in the chat.
it. And what everybody else out there might not know is how much he talks in Slack.
Yeah, I'm so much more comfortable behind a keyboard. Yeah, I haven't. The little that I've looked at databases, I don't think I'm the only person that was like, this is cool, but I'd like to automate against it. I'd really like to, have some API access. And without that, I mean, databases feel like it's a very something that you should be able to program against in my mind. And I've seen some of the use cases, and I think there are some people in my org, or at Roku rather, that are doing crazy stuff using tables as databases, because we have table filters and charts. And
Not sponsored.
yeah, sorry. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
was that I want to get it right, so I'm gonna look it up.
While you're
I think
looking it up,
Still
let me
soft.
just-
So
Still
still soft.
That's
Sorry.
still stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a ridiculous feature that I didn't even know existed until my users used it, which is like, did you know we can have a table here and a Jira table of issues, and then you can join across them? And I was like, what? Yeah, can you help me with this SQL query? And I was like, what are you talking about? A SQL query on a Confluence macro? And they're like, yeah, look, it's this thing that we have. And I was like, I didn't even know you could do that. I was just using table filters.
So I think this is a great transition to let's talk about being a Jira admin and being expected to know everything about Jira. And all of a sudden we wake up and the whole UI is new.
Yes.
What are your first thoughts on this new UI?
I think
Anybody can go.
as you teased earlier, I said WTF. I'm really sort of putting myself in the minds of my users who are a bunch of cranky old engineers. And so a bunch of cranky old engineers will see this new UI and go, what the hell have you done
To my Jira.
And where is the button to say use the old view?
That would be a great button to have, because they have it in a lot of places where they've introduced new changes and then like, just kidding, like this wasn't, we didn't think this through all the way. Like the importer compass components, you can always switch back to regular components.
For a while, you could do the old issue view. For a long time, you could do old issue view. And then there was even a hack in the URL if you added in parentheses old issue view.
Even with the create, the little pop-up that when they moved to the create to the bottom right corner, that it would like pop up the screen down there, like it would say you can go back to the old way. So I am like, they're sticking to their guns on this one, man. Like, I'm not happy with the new UI at all. So let's why don't I share my screen and maybe we talk about some of the biggest challenges with this new UI. And then we can go from there. But Darryl, what stood out to you the most as you're looking at this new UI here?
I mean, honestly, though, I feel like my biggest challenge is going to be convincing people that it doesn't suck. Not because it sucks. The more that I've looked at it in the 24 hours that I've looked at it, full disclosure, is like, oh, some of this actually makes sense.
Like what? Because I have
Yeah.
yet to make
Yeah,
that.
no,
I
okay.
have yet to make that discovery.
So please open an issue. Or
Sure.
please open a project,
A
right?
project,
So,
that's even harder. Opening a project is harder because you go straight into boards now. Like clicking on the project doesn't actually open a project.
yeah.
It expands a board.
I think one thing that I like, I was gonna bust out a slide of there's, if you are as old as I am or Robert, you may have heard of a guy named Jacob Nielsen, who basically is the guy who invented modern UX, web UX, and one of his big things is discoverability or recognition. And like, you shouldn't have to, like, if stuff is hidden, that's bad, or if people have to search, that's bad. And so one of the things that I liked was over on your left-hand column, right where your cursor is, recent, and you can see the projects there, all of your projects that you've recently touched. That used to be hidden. If you can flip behind a old UI,
Yep.
it's under projects, and then it's at this
Under your work, I think.
this menus that's always changing, right, depending on what you hit. So I was actually talking about projects.
Oh, well, there's a recent under projects?
No. We're the same tab you're at, and then click on the projects menu right next to where you are.
Oh, this recent.
Right, yeah. And so that's moved to the sidebar.
Really? Oh, I see that here. I didn't catch that at all. When you said recent, I went to this recent.
Yeah, no.
I would not have gone to this recent.
That's basically the same thing that they had before, I think. But,
this was hidden. This recent is hidden.
Yeah. But I kind of like that idea, because it's like, these aren't hidden, they're always there. And then the other thing that we talked about yesterday in Slack was, where the hell is the project settings?
Yeah, that's a hard one to get to.
And it's under the ... right? But if you're in this project, so I know the problem is you go into a project, it's on the board, right? If you remember in the old view, so if you flip back to the next tab, where's project settings here? Scroll down, it's at the bottom, project settings. But maybe it's not project settings, but automation, they've moved it around so many times.
Yeah, automations and you have to go into the project settings.
Right.
And I think they did that though, because you need to be a project admin or higher to be able to make an automation.
My point is that a lot of these side nav things have moved. Like, I'm 100% sure automation used to be at the bottom, and then they moved it
I
to
see.
the top.
Yeah.
They
project
created collapse.
What's that?
They redid this panel not that long ago, maybe 6 months ago, with condensing and collapsing.
This right here pissed the heck out of me.
Right.
I was like, why would you take the JSM stuff that used to work so well and then put everything under a menu?
Yeah. And so I think, like,
sorry.
Well, no. My note was that when it's in a sidebar, it's always moving around and it's always hard to find, because they're constantly changing it. And here it's like, we're probably going to run into the same issue as admins. We're still screwed because they think about us last. But like, yeah.
But Darryl, hold up. Did you see that you could do this? And you can hide the whole thing. And can you imagine how many people are going to call you asking you, my stuff is missing?
Yeah, that's funny.
Look at that. Look at my sidebar now.
Well, it's so clean.
Yeah, where are my projects at though?
I think the key there is, if it comes in with the default with everything and then people have the option to hide it, then it's sort of like, all right, that's on you. But if it comes in fully populated, and then you can start hiding stuff. And that's how I feel about the tabs too. So if you go back into an issue, it's like, I see this, into a board.
Keep telling me I do what you tell me to do.
So like, yeah, that's like a crap load of tabs. And like, we don't have goals.
You can move. So all of this is configurable too now. Like, you can click on these and remove it.
Like, this really turned me off when I first saw it, because there's too many tabs. But the fact that you can move them and remove them, I think, is really key. Like, one of the biggest gripes I've had in the last couple of months was a change they made to the issue view. And people are like, just make it customizable. And it's like, yes, that would go a long way.
But let's double click onto that one, because customizable is not always a good thing. Because you have to support these users in these companies, right? And like simple stuff, like I've had so many people hit the create button and go, "Where's my field?"
Yeah.
And that's because you switched over here to this one to change to your custom fields. And this was a user setting that the users get to click on, not me as an admin. So this was like the one place that they could have freedom, and they butch it up so many times, and then I have to go and provide, and I have to troubleshoot, right? Because I have my admin hat on, so I'm going to the field, I'm going to the screen, I'm going to the screen scheme, right? I'm doing context, I'm doing, is it hidden, right? I'm doing all kinds of really technical deep dives before I get to, oh yeah, I forgot you can edit this yourself.
I think
But now you've given everybody the keys to this kingdom to edit the whole UI themselves. And I'm like, I just don't want to be a Jira admin for this instance.
Well, you're not. You quit.
Spoilers, Atlassian. Thank you for helping me quit my job, because I wasn't going to deal with this.
I think that's a very fair point. If you click on the more, does it show you all the tabs, including ones that you've removed? So,
yeah, shows you all your apps and stuff.
Yeah, like if all of these were up there, what a nightmare. That's the thing that, like,
hey, you can keep adding too.
Yeah,
besides the ones I have on there.
Oh god. So that's the thing that really threw me, is like, oh, it's so busy. It's so busy. And so, like, I feel like the first thing I'll be telling my users is like, okay, yeah, when you log in, you're going to see a bunch of stuff you don't care about. You don't use calendars. You don't use
goals.
I mean, what's the difference between development and code? Those feel like they should be the same thing. I'm sure they're not. If you don't use those, you can remove those tabs. And also, if you need them back, click on more and you can get them back. Like, that'll be my first thing, because I'm sure that'll be one of the first things people scream about. It's like, what is all this crap?
I will say that the one thing it has going for itself is I like the icons.
There is a UI person out there going, "Yay, he noticed me."
Yeah. The iconography is really lovely. They've done an amazing job, I think.
So my 2 cents is, take the icons, give me this one. Put it over here. Put it in the old one. Just everything else, leave it alone.
A curiosity. So I'm all of a sudden thinking about Microsoft and your ability to adjust and alter your ribbons, right? And to make quick actions and things. Do you think a lot of people do that? Because I'm kind of, this is like that pattern. And a lot of people aren't doing that. So while certainly it's possible to, hyper personalize this, do you think most of the people are? Or do you think it's maybe because it's Jira and the people who are using it, they're more likely?
I think there's going to be some bored people at work that are going to mess around with this stuff. Then they're going to forget that they made those changes. And then like 6 months from now, they're going to have a question. Their coworker, who's going to have a completely different customization of Jira, is going to say, oh, just click on, wait, where's the button? And then talk about the irony of Atlassian's focus on productivity is going to go straight down to the ground, because everybody's going to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out where the hell's the button.
Yeah, I'm immediately getting Salesforce vibes. My last job, we made apps for Salesforce, and there, at least at the time, the UI was very tab based. And yeah, they called a collection of tabs an app, which I thought was a bad name for that. But the idea was you could enforce that everybody sees the same tabs, or you could allow people to create their own tab groups. And every time people could create their own tab groups, it just created chaos, because everyone's like, well, my app doesn't work, or I don't have that option. It's like, no, you do. You just don't have that tab to show you that option. Yeah, it's interesting from the group that's brought us like team managed projects
We don't
and
say that word
organizational
on
managed
this podcast.
I love team managed projects, but they're also problematic, right?
Okay.
Because there's no sense of general control. There's no centralized control. And here's just another example of this, where it's like, oh wow, everybody can have a different view of
Everything?
every board. Oh, whoa. Okay.
I guess I would counter that this isn't quite like Fields.
Just wait for the next update, dude.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as I don't think it's as like it can be as messy as custom fields, but
Yeah.
just supporting users. Like if I'm like, oh, here's this new person who just started on my team, they have a different set of like tabs along here than I do because I've been working here for a
No,
year.
it's a
That's
support
wild.
nightmare.
Oh, dude.
It is a support nightmare. You're
My
right.
YouTube videos, right? The number of comments that I get, hey Alex, that button is not on my UI.
Yeah.
Well, now I can actually make these buttons disappear. So all my videos are going to be so tailored to the way I have it set up at that point in time. Every onboarding document, like this is no wonder Atlassian doesn't have screenshots in their documentation.
Is that why? So they can change it at any.
They can just change it whenever they want.
That's a great theory. I love it. What was that feature? Oh, in filter view. There's an
I got rid of everything, dude. Hold up.
No. I'm just looking at mine and thinking about like for columns, right? You can have the default columns, or you can have your personal columns.
Did you see? Yeah, no, that's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did you see what Atlassian did with issue view recently?
You mean the work item view, Alex?
Shut up. Let's not even get started.
You mentioned he's a comedian.
Thing view.
Okay, so Atlassian, I don't know who runs the ship over there, right? But when you click on all issues, I expect to see all my issues.
Yeah.
When I'm in this view here.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not showing it in mine, but what I've started to see on client Jiras is when you click on all issues, it shows you a list view of your all issues, and the count is only whatever it shows you at that list. So all the nested items don't come in the count. So you then have to hit a button that says all issues to then see all issues again. Have you guys seen that? This is like a new thing. Let me see. Let me see if I have it on this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see right here, I have 3. But if I click on go to all issues, like I'm in issues and I'm supposed to be in all issues because this filter is all my issues. But I have to click on go to all issues to then see all the issues. And like, I know this is a bad example, but it would have shown me a lot more because anything that's nested, like they just get hidden now. And I'm like, why Atlassian would you do this to me?
I'm not seeing that on my instance. The list view doesn't give me a total at all.
But Alex, when aren't those the issues that are filtered by the project, and you're saying that's not all the issues for you and all the issues in that project? Because that's filtered by the project.
Right. But what I'm seeing, and I wish I could show you client data, is when you click on view all issues, it's setting up the hierarchy like you see it in the list view.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Really?
so it's collapsed. You don't see everything. You just see whatever it decides to show you. So you have to come and click on this go to all issues so you can finally see all the issues in that project because they're all now nested. Like if you have all your hierarchy set up, it won't show it to you the right way. And it's been driving me nuts. I had 2 people have called me out this week just saying like, what happened to my search of my issues? And I'm like, I don't know. This is new.
So that's from the issues button
In the Jira project, yeah.
project. Yeah, I'm not seeing that on mine.
I'm trying to see if I can find it in mine. Of course, Atlassian 1 Jira instances don't always have that same view.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I'll go
Sure.
off. Let me see if I can find it. I need to find an example because I'm making a video on this because this is the little subtle changes that I think Atlassian does because it renders quicker, right? Like the search is fast because it didn't bring everything back. But it's misleading because I clicked on all issues, but it's not all your issues.
Well, I think I read recently there's going to be like the infinite scroll on issues soon. So maybe that's what you're experiencing.
I was going to say, is this some kind of like some team implemented pagination in the UI and kind of like messed some stuff up when they
It
did
might have
that?
been
Yeah,
a
if they're
temporary thing too, yeah.
if they're working toward infinite scroll, you're seeing the limits before we reach out into the infinite, Alex. It's about to get very deep and philosophical.
I was going to say.
Yeah, here we go.
You
I'm
need to be
gonna
at a higher plane.
So watch. So I'm gonna show you this right here because it doesn't show any sensitive data. So this right here, I'm clicking to issues. By default, you're always in all issues, and you can see I have 47, but they're nested.
Mhm. Yep.
Right? So the account won't show me all of them until I click on go to all issues, and then it will show me all the issues, all 131. But this is what I'm expecting to see when I go to all issues. But I'll back it up a little bit more, right? I click on issues, and it's not all of them. I only see 47 of them.
That's a new view,
right? And I have to click on all. If I click on all issues, I'm in all issues view, and it's not all the issues. It's until I click this here that then it gives it to me. This is what I'm expecting to see.
That view that you're looking at looks like a hybrid of list and the old issue view.
Yeah, but but this is I'm doing the same thing in a different project, right? So I'll go on my board, I'll go to issues.
Yeah.
And then I'm in all issues and I see
all
the issues for the project.
But if you're looking at the footer of this page and it shows the oh wait, there's a comment. The nesting in this view also okay, right. So you must be part of some like experiment or that
horrible experiment.
Yes, a horrible experiment that's gone awry. But
I'm not like, this is not my Jira, right? Like I've seen this in at least 3 different team Jiras this week.
SaaS, man, they're doing A/B testing. It's just like Netflix. You just got those. Your clients got in the bad group, in the B group.
I like to think there's a group of people on the Jira team that are just like, Alex just found it. Come here, come check this out. Oh my God, he's losing it.
Yeah.
Quick, turn it off. He's about to show somebody. Turn it off.
Right. Because they can see all the sites you have access to. So that actually it's an Alex flag.
Have you seen this?
Like, sure. They have a robo agent that's all about Alex.
It's funny you bring that up. These are all my Jiras, right? Or all my Atlassian things, sites. And home.atlassian.com does not work for me at all.
Yeah. No. For me, it's all of my stuff like that is broken because we're still on another pain point, the old user management.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Yes. The old user management that was centralized user management, which is announced in 2021.
Dude,
so you're the reason all that documentation still says if you're on the old.
I got a teaser about 2 weeks ago on this new centralized or this new user management. And I told the lady, I was like, if you roll this out, like I'm going to ClickUp or something because I can't do this. I can't do this at all. Like this is such a bad idea.
Yeah, I'm part of the 1% that isn't rich.
Where do you live again?
Wait. I thought it was there's 1% that are rich, and you're part of the 99%.
No. Right? So the 1% that I'm talking about is the 1% of Jira of Atlassian customers that could not or choose not to migrate to centralized user management.
Okay.
Because they claim that 99% of customers are. I mean,
if you're
if you're a new user, you get it. That's probably why they get to 99 because every new user, site has the new centralized. But supposedly 1% of their customer base, in our case and other people I've talked to's cases, we have too many sites, we have too many users, we have too many groups, and it exceeds that they can migrate to centralized.
Interesting.
So what I saw then for that old experience, they're making it so that you can manage your users and groups at one level for all the sites.
Yes.
And I'm like, this is pure mayhem. I would not want that because I have different site admins, which is not a thing in the new UI.
Right.
You just have org admins, which I argue with the ACP 520 creators because I'm like, this is very confusing. Why do you have one way of taking the test and a different way of taking the test, depending on which UI you're on? And so I argue with it that site admins are still very much a thing, even though the test says that they're not. And my site admins will go and delete groups. If you were to share all the groups across all your sites at one place and you had all your site admins all congregating there, like it would just be pure chaos.
Right. So that's not a concern for me, and I'd be happy to take centralized if I could get it. But yes, what Atlassian has publicly stated is, a lot of people are like in the case that you just described, Alex, they don't want all of their users and groups combined. So they're all unique.
I wouldn't want them combined.
Although what happens though is that if you're syncing from the same IDP, all the users get synced to all the sites.
That's fine. But that's fine, but I still manage the license individually per site. Because I'll give you a great example of what happened. I don't use Teams at all. The team field, I stopped using that because one day Atlassian woke up and said, we're going to make all the team across all your sites at the org level be the same. And I had an org admin jump in like, where do these teams come from? Delete, 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 delete. Yeah. And I woke up another site who did use them. They're like, what happened to my teams? I'm like, I don't know. We'll check the logs, and I'm like, why did you delete them? I'm like, I didn't recognize them. I'm like, I didn't need them.
Yeah.
Like, why did Atlassian unify these?
Teams are a nightmare. So yeah, in your case, it's what you have what you want, which is that they won't migrate you. So the 4-year journey to centralized user management, in the end, they're like, yeah, and this last group of people, you can just stay on the old one. And as Dave Lau pointed out, maintaining 2 different code bases seems like a real pain in the butt.
Not only that, but the certifications too. Like I was so scared going into the ACP 520 because my world is in the old admin.atlassian.com and the test is in the new admin.atlassian.com.
Yeah.
And it just creates chaos. And I wish Atlassian would just also roll out this UI to everybody, because now I have in this case that I'm explaining, like I have 20 sites. One of them is on the new UI, so I'm getting all kinds of questions, and then the 19 on the old UI.
Mm-hmm.
But like get them all on the same one, so I can deal with the problems all at the same time. Now I'm going to do a staggered.
Well, I, in the world of SaaS, one does not just roll out the new UI. You know, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But what you forget is there's 30 different teams working on each individual component, and there's at least 3 teams per product creating a new list view because they can't just use one. There is no just rolling it out. That's a lot.
The voice of reason here.
I try.
Wishful thinking, I suppose.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you think about this new UI? You've been kind of quiet.
Well, I'm staring at Confluence, and there's a different story over here. I'm not saying it's like a good story.
So Confluence has changed. Well, let's go over there.
So Confluence. I mean, one of the things to keep in mind here is this is a re-envisioning. Oh, you have the old. Yeah, go to a Confluence page. I can also share my screen. I've got it pulled up here. This is a re-envisioning of the Atlassian design system, and they've implemented it across Jira and Confluence. So I think that's a really interesting, like, monolithic effort. The one thing that is typically lost when you have conversations like this is these designers have looked at stats on all of this stuff. Like, okay, automations has changed position 4 times, probably based on who is clicking it, or do they want to promote more people to click it? All of that stuff. So, yeah, if you go into any page, if you have a decent page. All right, so you're looking at some old stuff here. Again, some new, some old. So why don't you, if you don't mind, I'll share my screen so we can see the new hotness here. Let's grab this screen and share it.
The new hotness, he says.
The new hotness, yeah. All right, here's the new hotness. So one of the things they've done is they totally have simplified the header. So the header...
Like, where's my producer? Sorry, go ahead.
The header has
Wait, you saying though? Hold up, sorry. Are you saying because I was on an old page from before the UI update, it hasn't translated to really fully leverage the new way of looking at the page?
That is what I'm saying. Yeah, like I said, there are so many different pieces here that are happening.
The topic of this conversation.
Luckily, I have the ear of the head of product for Confluence as well as the head of design for Confluence. Not that they're taking my opinions, but I kind of just brought this up like, hey, I'm really curious, and we've had some conversations, so it's been helpful to give some perspective here. So there was a great piece done by one of the members of the Confluence Rejuvenation team, kind of talking about some of the changes and why. So the header here has been drastically simplified. So this area right here used to have a whole bunch of icons, including one of the 3,000 Loom icons they stuck into the UI over the last few months.
I'll go back and forth because mine still has it.
Okay, I was not sad to see a one Loom icon disappear. This is one of the things that's needed to happen with Confluence is just a massive cleanup of all these little features that we've sprinkled in here and there over the years. We've crammed them here. We've crammed some in the what are they called? The overflow menu. We've crammed some in the overflow menu here in the page or in the content tree. There has been stuff slapped everywhere for years. So like, good on you. Put everything in one place. But you know, there's some interesting choices here. You have to. So the overflow menu has been completely changed. One of the things that is a bit problematic here at first glance is if you use apps can no longer put anything in the overflow menu. So for an example, K15T makes scroll PDF exporter, which is, you know, if you want to do a basic Word or PDF export, you can use the option built into Confluence. If you want to use a full PDF designer and have a fully branded PDF, you would use our app. But now that option doesn't exist here. So that's kind of like oh, okay.
What's under, does the apps have a cascading thing?
Yeah, so this is where things start to get a little shaky, is how they've brought apps into all of these views. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm trying to just cover the big changes so everybody can see them. So overflow menu, the other thing is the byline. So the byline is this thing that lives underneath the page title. And this is, again, I think another good change, because the byline has just been packed full of stuff. Like, if you have multiple apps, whatever, it's just been a mess. Like, one of the things they did is they just added some padding between the elements, which, like, thank God. Another thing they shared is they found that many users have on average, like, I think they said 2 apps, which, okay, so they only show 4 here. And then there's this show more option to show all the things, which, okay, yep, I can see how that might be useful. Unfortunately, you can't reorganize these. You can't say, oh, well, I use scroll viewport in this space, so I want to put that at the top. No,
you should be so lucky though, because we could do it in Jira.
Yeah, in Jira, I can just like infinite tabs, but yeah, here, no touchy. We have the action bar, which is this little pill-shaped thing here, which is very much giving floating action buttons from Material Design, or what is it, Material U now, which is used by Google and Android. Very much borrowed from there, which is a thing when you look at the Atlassian Intelligent lozenge here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, it's starting to feel like a pill bottle down here. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how many more capsules we have to go before it's like, okay, well, now we need a bottle to put all of our lozenges in. But that, okay, sure. And then this is the details panel. So this is the home of a lot of the other metadata that was kind of crammed over here. Some of it was up here. This is where you can add labels, as an example, which used to have this weird position at the bottom of the page, or maybe that was when you were in the editor. No, I guess that was in the overflow menu. This is where you can see the contributors. You can actually get a word count now. So, like, new feature, y'all. You can't see it. You can't see it in the editor, which sucks. But okay, so interesting. And also you can see your connected like Jira issues or Trello cards and stuff in here. So these are the major changes. One, and then the other thing to point out that I don't know that we've addressed really is the whole top bar is completely different. Like we don't. First of all, we were just talking about teams. I think they've given up on Teams in Confluence. I don't know where they are. They're gone. They're not in. Oh, okay, here they are. They're hidden in the more menu. Okay, so Teams have been demoted. I think this is an interesting change. They're trying to bring search more prominent, which is great, especially if you're really trying to sell Rovo like crazy, because Rovo search is it is an improvement for sure. And they've brought the universal nav to the side left, which is interesting. And fun fact, not the first time they've tried this. For a couple of seconds, they tried something like this with Confluence on demand, and it didn't go over well. So they reverted it. So here we are again. This time, it's better.
It's
Trademark.
rejuvenated.
Yeah. So here we have like our universal nav, and it's kind of cool. So again, they've hidden some things, which as Darryl pointed out, like hiding things, but choices were made. The nice thing is, though, I can come in to customize this. So very quickly, I could say, I want to see Teams, or I want to put Teams up here because Teams are so important to me, said no one ever. So we could customize this, which is really, really cool. Real big bummer here. So
until your users ask you, what happened to my Teams?
Yeah, exactly. Luckily, at least I believe these changes are universal across Confluence. So like, it's not going to change per project, at least. It will.
That's a great, but is it?
I think it is. I think it is. But here's the problem. Okay, so here are my apps that are installed across or that are available across all of Confluence. These, what if I'm like, oh my God, I publish content to our Scroll Viewport site all the time. I need to go into Scroll Viewport very often. It would be very helpful if I could just click and drag this up here and just have this in my nav all the time. No, you can't get apps out of here. You can move the apps menu, but you can't take anything out of the apps menu. We don't look at those, right? And then to make it even more curious, and this one has an explanation, down here at the very bottom of the content tree, there's the space apps. So these are the apps that we can actually use in this space, and they are just absolutely banished down here, but I can reorder these ones. And I can hide them. So I'm like, okay.
You can't. You got to pick and choose your battles with the UI,
right? So it's like y'all get a pass fail grade on this, and we're gonna say it's a pass. But the nice thing is, I have been clued in that in the action bar, we're calling this a bar. I think it's a bar. Sure. In the action bar, there will be a new app menu. So this, I believe, the space apps will live here. So okay, that's like slightly better, but it gets worse, more different. Another thing y'all might have noticed is missing is this whole area. I mean, this is like brand new beachfront property here, right? This was an area that had even more potential for buttons and options. So this was used by a lot of apps like K15T's app Scroll Documents to have an entire menu for interacting with all sorts of content management on this page and all the pages in the space. Really like critical for teams using that app. It's gone, y'all. It's just
do they
gone.
consult with like the app makers or just make the changes?
They don't. They
Okay.
don't.
We're gonna have curious.
We're gonna have a chat. I mean, they have the stats, right? So they're looking at stats and they're like, oh, on average, a user has 2 apps. Okay, so apps probably aren't that important,
but
right?
I feel
And I'll give you that. Apps used to be quite unimportant. They were a lot of little silly helper apps, but now like a lot of those have been replaced with automations, and the ones that still exist are heavy hitters. You need menu items to do stuff.
Yeah.
This is kind of like does anybody remember like with iOS when this thing launched with all the what do they call it? The app library, and all of a sudden it was like an Android app drawer, but really shitty because it's not alphabetized. It's just like they randomly arrange all your apps in a way that truly isn't helpful. It's kind of like that is what's happened here. Except in addition, it took all of the apps that used to live on my home screens and just got rid of them. Just like, no. We didn't make those. You should not touch them. You should not use them. you don't need those abilities in
Mhm.
Confluence. And it's like, even if, statistically 90% of users are like, yeah, sure, I'll just use the stock weather app on my phone. There's a good 10% of us that are like, yeah, actually, like I predict the weather. I need the real thing. Like I need my app. Like, where did that go? So some of this is a result of this like in between nature. And some of this is like, there's also an indication that within the details panel, there will be more extension points for app developers to add metadata here, which is cool. So, like if you were using maybe a workflow app, you might see a different workflow status here or something like that. But that truly doesn't give that ability to have interactive menus that apps used to have. It's amazing to me that in the year of our Lord 2025, Apple of all companies seems to be showing us better support and integration for third-party app developers and integrations than our friends at Atlassian at the moment. So I want to have a conversation with them, and I want them to just change my mind. Actually, that will be happening next week. I was hoping to do it before this, but I'm just kind of like, I love 80% of what y'all are doing, and then some of it I'm like, oh no, you don't know the whole story. It
Yeah, I
feels
wonder. I'm very curious, and I would love to have a follow-up episode to just talk about. You said stats a lot, and it reminds me of that scene from Sully where the simulation data clearly said that the plane could have made it back to
Yeah.
the airport, right? But he's like, you took the human, like you're looking for human error, but you took the human out of it, and you're just looking at numbers. And I feel like this is what's happening here. Like you're taking a lot of the human of how a human would interact with the tool, and you're looking at like data, statistical data, and like I don't know that would want to design a human experience based on non-human data.
Maybe they gave it to Rovo to design. Oh,
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe they robo tested it.
sorry.
right,
no love for Rovo right now. Actually, Rovo is playing better with third parties at the moment than the
I would
Confluence
hope so.
UI
Isn't that the
is.
whole premise
So,
behind Robo?
yeah. I would kind of love it if Rovo was like, hey, something's missing from your UI. Like, that's weird. Let me put that back for you.
Yeah. Well, in the last 3 minutes that we have here, Darryl, what's your best Disney tip that we have for people coming to Team 25?
Comfortable shoes.
Very comfortable shoes. Be prepared to walk over 17,000 steps.
Yeah,
I will tell you all, folks, I go to Disneyland at 5 p.m. and we stay until 8 or 9 p.m. So 6, 7, 8, 9, about 4 hours. And I knock out 10,000 full steps in that 4-hour period. Just in those 4 hours.
Whew.
So
All right.
come very prepared to walk. Because we're gonna go over at what, 3 p.m., right? For us content creator or as a
community
leader?
leader.
Yeah. So it's going to be a nice 20-minute walk over to the park.
Yeah. No, Robert, I don't know. If you've got really comfortable Mickey Mouse shoes, cushioned, padded, big, yellow.
So nice shoes. What else we got?
Like the Mario shoes from that meme.
I would say also bring a friend, right? Partner up on as we walk to the park. Find your partner because it's very awkward to be on a ride alone. Like, don't form groups of 5 or 3. Like, it just creates a very odd situation.
So then, like, don't forget your Dramamine or whatever it is if you need. Maybe somebody should be giving out like the what am I thinking?
Anti-nausea, the seasickness. There's not a lot of. I mean, it's not like being on a cruise. If you don't like if you get sick on roller coasters, then you probably shouldn't go on the roller coasters. But they're not like they don't go upside down except for one. They're not very extreme.
I will tell you. So we are going to Disneyland. So you won't be upside down anywhere in Disneyland.
Oh, it's only Disneyland. Okay.
Yeah, and Finding Nemo is a 17-minute commitment. So if you're gonna get in there, you're in this container for 17 minutes underwater.
Is it that long?
It is that long.
Wow.
All this time and no one has found that fish. My God, it keeps going, huh?
And
I would say,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, don't forget to bring your personal space. I hate mascots. Those things in the costumes freak me out. And I'm just like, sorry, Mick, you stay over there. I'm having a good time. Peace.
There are lines to get close to Mickey, so
I will tell you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm safe then.
so many people flood over to the mouse that it's rare. Like I walk right past them all the time. But I will tell you that they are doing a lot more less costume, like Mickey Mouse hat, like big costume, but more like, the princesses are not in a.
Yeah.
Like you can see their face, right? They're just wearing a dress.
Mm-hmm.
I like Sean's comment about single rider lines for the win, and Alex, you said bring a friend and go in pairs. But if you like me hate lines and are fine riding with strangers or by yourself, you can get like way more quantity of rides in by going in a single rider line.
I will also tell you, do not, unless you're going to go to the parks for the full day, do not buy Lightning Lane because Lightning Lanes run out. And since we are going to go after 3 p.m., you don't have a guarantee. They'll still charge you the full $36. You will not have guarantee that there will be any Lightning Lanes available for the ride you want to ride.
That's super lame.
So I would not recommend it. So we're going to be in lines for a bit.
For context, Lightning Lanes are Disney's latest attempt to separate you from your money, and it's basically a pay to get to the front of the line pass.
It's a class system that they're building. I go to Disneyland. I go and I tell them,
it's Disneyland Enterprise Edition. Oh my God, that's very good, Sarah. That's very good.
It is the Enterprise version of Disneyland. I always go and ask for the poverty lane, and the cast member goes like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "The lane for poor people, because that's where I go."
The longest one.
Yeah, and people used to say, like, people are like, "Well, if you can afford to go to Disneyland, then you're not poor, right?" But within the park, we have a class system now, right? Because there's the Lightning Lane people, and then there's the regular people.
Yeah. And yeah.
Well, we're out of time. I would love to keep going. We'll see you all hopefully in a month.
Yeah. Wow. Almost exactly.
Yeah. Sean and I we will be at Disneyland on the 4th of April. We'll be there on the 7th of April, and then we're going on the 11th of April.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody wants to join us, we'll be at the parks.
Wow.
And my family will also be with me on the 7th when we all go.
Good times.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I'm just glad I'm not the only one that loses sleep over this dumb UI crap because holy moly.
Thank you for the invitation. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you all. And who wants to say our famous tagline to get out of here? But not before we say special thank you to our sponsor for making this episode possible. Thank you, Revice. Nobody?
Okay. We get you to say our catchphrase with us, which is, I'll say, we didn't choose the Jira Life, and then we'll all say, the Jira Life chose us.
Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Thank you. Ready?
Okay.
All right. We didn't choose
the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.
Thank you for listening to the Jira Life. Our hosts are Alex, Dr. Jira Ortiz, and Rodney, the Jira Guy, Nissen. You can find Alex on YouTube at 8Tech Tutorials, and Rodney's blog is found over at thejiraguy.com. Our producers are Robert King Bob Wen and Lina Ortiz. You can catch us live as we record this podcast every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on YouTube at The Jira Life. Be sure to join us and our other Jira Amigos of the Peanut Gallery every week to ask your questions, let us know your comments, and just tell us what you're up to. But if you can't join us live, you can still catch the replay over on YouTube. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell while you're watching. We're also available as a podcast over on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you listen to it and think it deserves a rating, we would very much appreciate it, as it will help others discover the Jira Life. Because we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us.